Friday, March 1st, 2024. Today in the Daily Review, we discuss the new Denis Villeneuve movie entitled Dune 2, More Dune, with your host, me, Professor Joe LaRocca. Study stars Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya and Florence Pugh and Brolin and Ferguson. This is Antonio Banderas. No, what's his name there? Anyway, I found it kind of underwhelming. Denny really likes to not show you the thing that you kind of want to see, and I found that to sometimes be rewarding. But as a whole, what a joyless series this has been. They look impeccable, but everybody's so wooden, and it's so hard to get a bead on who we're supposed to relate to. And this is coming from even having read the book and understanding it far more clearer in that, because you feel like you're on a journey. Whereas this breaks it up so much that I don't think we're ever really in the headspace. I don't think just showing close-ups just puts us in the headspace of the characters. I think that through actions we need to see more happen. It's very episodic and strangely paced, and I never felt fully invested in the story. And although it's 3 hours long, I felt like everything happened too fast. Though for most of the movie, I would say nothing was happening. It's a kind of a paradox. I mean, there's probably some degree, or there's definitely some degree of brilliance going on here with, kind of shirking off the expectations and making it this big, giant space epic, as well as this personal indie movie in a sense. But it doesn't deliver. It doesn't feel like, and I know that the whole point, this is no spoilers, but I understand what the story is, and that a typical kind of Star Wars A New Hope ending of them blowing up the Death Star it's not that type of movie. It's a more cerebral endeavor than that. But to make a cerebral movie really strong, I think that there has to be an intellectual hook that I don't think that they flesh out very well. Because there's so much ambiguity, which is what's so interesting about the book about good and evil, it makes the internal world decisions really complicated. But on the outside, the bad guys are so obviously the bad guys, and the good guys are so obviously the good guys. So, I don't know. It really just didn't work for me. And of course, it's better looking than 99% of all movies you've ever seen. It's pretty impeccable. Though there's one shot, a reoccurring shot from a dream of a guy silhouetted going like that in profile, and they show it 3 times, and it's a really, really bad shot. I can't believe it. Looks like a 1990s video game. Other than that, that's really nitpicking. But that stood out. I'm like, God, that's the worst shot. And then on the 3rd time they showed, I'm like, you showed that 3 fucking times? God damn. You're making me question everything about you, Denny. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel like we see the arc of Muad'Dib, the desert mouse. I don't feel it as much as I do in other movies that Timothy Chalamet's been in, like The King, where he plays Henry V. I really feel like that is him going from a petulant boy, like a drunken idiot, to understanding and facing his fears in battle, and understanding what it means to be a king, and how you can never be. The only thing you can have is a close companion to trust, because everything else is it's gonna be palace intrigue, and you need to find that strength within yourself, because it's not going to come from anywhere else. That movie, I think by the end of that movie, it's holy shit, that guy went from a boy to a man. Whereas in this, it all feels a little bit forced. I mean, other than the very, very exhilarating worm riding scene that happens in the first chunk of the movie, I really kind of petered out. And then when we were ramping up to the climax, I'm like, we're going for the climax already? Wow, this is so different. And so maybe I'm just a little bit shocked by the differentness of it. But overall, I don't know. Just kind of washed over me. I didn't really feel it. Again, I know I keep thinking of the Matrix, because the Matrix does such a good job of like taking this meek little dude that you kind of don't believe is the one, and then by the end you're like, he's the one. And I know that's like kind of the opposite of this story, is the danger of messianic prophesization and fundamentalism, and like taking religion as a political tool. But I just feel like there's so much more we needed. I feel like there's like so many scenes, I feel like, that I don't even know what they are, but it doesn't feel like it all connects. I kind of think the movie should have been longer, or definitively have a third part, because the movie could easily have a part 3. I mean, it did not end with a closing. It just ended, and everybody was like, what? Okay, all right. I have to go back and decide whether or not that is satisfying. But I do think where they ended is like really interesting, one of the most interesting parts of the movie. But there's something about it that just keeps me at arm's length, and I know, and I want to love it. I've every Denny movie I've seen almost all of them, I think, really strong. But that's one thing he has trouble with, is like a sense of humor. And I think he does best when he's doing movies about like kind of like crazy people, or like people you're not supposed to necessarily have a direct connection with, or like an android, that maybe is the realm he works the best, because he's a little bit disassociative in the way he tells his story. But I really like, I bet people would disagree with me probably, because there's so much humanism in like Sicario and in Arrival, but I feel like Arrival, I feel like that the human element of that is a little bit forced. I know people definitely disagree with me, and I'm in the minority on that one, but I don't know. As a whole, I don't know, man. I was just expecting something else, and it's fine. But this is a good time to end. So, thanks for watching. Maybe I'll do another review if they make a third Dune Messiah. But for now, that is good night. Take it easy. And remember, guys, fear is the mind killer.